Okay, guys. This is Bobster's one. Just made a video about kind of what to expect at MSF course, what they do, stuff like that. I thought I would go over, especially for sport bike guys who plan on getting a sports bike, which I did. I went there and I wanted an '05 R6. I didn't get that bike. I got it in '02 R6. It's what it is. But now I have a '05 Gixxer 1000, and I'll probably also do another video about a topic that I was also wondering when to know you should upgrade. Anyways, things they won't necessarily teach you in the MSF course is, well, let's start with this one. I just learned this one. They'll teach you every time you're like, okay, turn off your bike, flip the switch. Everybody is brainwashed. This is like the right way to do it. I thought this too. Until this switch stopped working, which I should not be flipping it right now. This switch right now does not necessarily work all the time. It started up a couple weeks ago, and it only did a couple times, and then I went. All right, let me back check. Sorry. So what happened? I go to get on my bike. I flip it on, and quickly go pulling the clutch, start it. Nothing happens. Nothing. Like, doesn't even nothing. So I'm like, okay, I didn't hear the fuel pump go either. So I'm like, okay, now what's going on? Flip the switch off, flip it back on. As the fuel pump goes, turn it on, right home. Next day, get off, I pull my bike out, and I flip the switch on, nothing happens. So I'm like, okay, no fuel pump's going. So I flip it back and forth like 10 times, then it finally kicks in. So I ride over to the local Suzuki dealership, and this guy owns a store, works there, and I start talking to him. I'm like, okay, just start asking him a bunch of questions. And I asked him about this, and he told me, well, the first question he asked was, have you taken an MSF course or a Team Oregon, because that's what's here called in Oregon, class lately? And I was like, I took one almost a year ago. So he told me that, they teach you to do that. But what that is doing is that after doing it so many times, it wears that line switch out, and it stops working. So he told me always shut it off by the key. The emergency cutoff switch is exactly what it says: emergency cutoff for emergencies. Other than that, at least when it comes to controls, you have a little switch down here, right blinker, left blinker, high beams on an '05 Gixxer 1000 or probably even Gixxers. The low beams are painfully dull. They're horrible. I always, at night, even when people come at me, I ride with my high beams on. The one thing about nice about the Gixxers is this one solid beam that points at the ground in front of you. It doesn't get in their eyes. So that's a plus side, at least. Horn, emergency lights. There's a temporary high beam on. Clutch, I got Pazzo racing levers on this bike, which are nice. They came with it, so whatever. Fairly simple. MSF, of course, you won't go above 15 miles per hour, maybe 20 if you're lucky, if you're daredevil and you get up that high. By the way, do you think this looks cool or stupid? It's Sharpie, and I can take it off whenever I want, so I did that. Anyways, getting back on topic. The other thing is they don't teach you counter steering there. They say counter steering as when you're like going really slow and you're like doing a corner and you lift your butt off the bike and lean over this way while you're turning the opposite way, and it's the only time I've ever heard counter steering called that. Counter steering is, especially on sports bikes, you have to know this. So you're riding, and you need to take a left corner. You're going to push with this hand and maybe pull a little bit with your right hand. But my right hand right now is occupied. It is that easy. You push. They kind of teach you push down. You push down on your bar and it goes this way. When you're at 15 miles per hour, yes, you can push straight down on your bars, then it'll do that. In reality, when you're at that course, you should be practicing properly. When you're going into a corner, you lightly, at that speed, you lightly push, and then you turn into the corner. At less than like 20 or 30, you don't keep pushing forward. At higher speeds, you will keep pushing your left bar forward to go left. At slower speeds, you push and turn into the corner. They don't teach you how to do that. They kind of using your body weight. It's really bad. I don't know. I mean, it's a good class, and I definitely recommend taking it. But there's just some things you need to watch out for. The other thing is, they'll teach you if you're going to a corner too hard, straighten and brake. Wrong. Just that is the stupidest thing to do. Because most times you don't. And they also add into the fact that you're pretty much screwed. They add that in also to save their butts. But it's stupid. My first wreck was because I had heard, with the sports bike, put your your bike into it harder, push your handlebars harder, get a steeper lean angle, and you'll come through it. Sadly, and I have done that before, but sadly, that first time that ever happened, their theology kicked into my head. That first thought I thought of when I was like, oh no, I'm going to wreck if I don't get, or do something. They were wrong. I mean, first time that ever happened to me, a couple days later, I did it again, and I was like, okay, I'm going across the road, and then I was like, okay, focus, look where I want to go, push the handlebars harder, go, and I made it through that corner, because I learned from my mistake. So, if you go into a corner too hard, push in harder. Most cruisers, anything, because when it comes down to it, when you get first start, you kind of have a level in your head, and I still have this level because pretty much a couple days after I wrecked, I went riding with a buddy, and I was back of him when he totaled his 07 Gixxer 600. And that right there has gotten me very cautious. Let's put it that way. If I'm on any kind of a road that I don't know is a good road, I cannot bring myself to get any decent lane angle on it. You may call it fear if you want, but especially when it's a road I know, I was just out there, and the whole time I was riding, I was like, I saw my buddy go down on this road. I could not bring myself to go fast through those corners. Of course, it was fall, and there's a bit of leaves on the ground in some places, so I saw some bad things, and I was just like, nah, I can't do this. I'm not going to take a fast ride through this area. Just not going to be stupid. And I could have been fine, but anyways. So push into the corner harder. If you don't, you'll end up like me and you'll wreck. But anyways, as of right now, I can't really think of much. It's a good course. Most things I'll teach you is correct. There's some things like on sports bikes they'll tell you use all your brakes. I only use my front ones for the most part. You need to practice with your rear one, because if you do need to stop quicker, it will help. Because I had to use it recently, and I locked it up because I wasn't used to using it. I stopped using it for a while, and I locked up my rear tire. But that's no problem. Just you're supposed to hold it down. I actually released it. In reality, you're not going to have a problem unless your bike's kicked out way to the side and you release your brake. You won't have a problem. You really won't. But anyways, these things have a lot more grip than you give them credit for. I don't give them enough credit either. I guess I fear the roads. I hit a rock the other day. I was at a decent lean angle, and I felt my tire pop under a rock. That right there, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to die. But then my bike kept on going through the corner, so I was like, no, never mind, I'm not going to die. So that was good. But anyways, I thought I'd let you know that they don't really teach you everything. I would suggest don't take everybody's word for it. Don't take my word for it. But go look at other videos. Look at other people who are more knowledgeable than me, that have been riding longer than me, and they should tell you the same thing, that you do not straighten and brake through a corner. I straightened and braked, hit some gravel, kept my traction, hit some grass, and that's when I started sliding, and I was going to low side. But then for some reason, my front and wheels both caught and made me do a nice big high side where I flew 5 or 10 feet away from my bike. And that I barely felt it the day it happened, but the next day I was pretty sore. But anyways, get a motorcycle, go out and have some fun. Just be safe. Don't get ahead of yourself, which I was. I was getting way ahead of myself. I was cutting through the curvy roads, and I was like, man, I'm gonna get my chicken strips gone, and I've gotten rid of my chicken strips before. When I was riding with my buddy, I saw him. I had no chicken strips at the end of that ride. On this 1000, I have chicken strips. I have learned it is not worth that bragging right. And now I want to get rid of them. Not gonna lie, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, is it really worth a bragging right that you have no chicken strips, a messed up bike? If you're not ready for it, and if you're if your mind and your body is not ready for it, now you need to push yourself. And I'm working on pushing myself, but I haven't been able to ride much. And I've gotten decently down there, but I'm not, I still have a little bit left on my chicken strips. So what? I have a beautiful bike, and I do not want to mess it up. That's about the only reason that I do not want to do that. With $1,000 deductibles, it's kind of like I would be at $1,000. Right now it's uninsured because I didn't have the money with no job for a couple months. Anyways, I'll stop taking up your time. Get out, have some fun, ride safe, wear your safety gear. If you're in a helmet optional state, wear your helmet. I'm sorry, it's stupid not to. And I get it. I would probably not always wear my helmet either. There'd probably be days where I didn't. I mean, I would go out like, I'm going to go around town, and I may not wear it. But I would still be pretty stupid for not wearing it. And I doubt I would do that. If I did that, it'd be like quick run to the store or something, on a blazing hot day. Personally, I've never had much problem with helmet, so wear them. And I don't live in a helmet's optional state, and I'm glad I don't, because that would give me the option to be stupid, and I'm glad I don't have that option, because it's one other thing I have to discipline myself not to do. Anyways, see you guys later. Rate, comment, subscribe. Whatever you guys want to do. See ya.